AskReddit by Marto Faco. What's a deep, dark rabbit hole to research when bored? Cryptozoology. It's interesting to say the least, but there are so many things that make you question what is out there in the world that we haven't discovered yet. When I first got into it, I thought cryptids were more like Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster, but there are hundreds or even thousands of other weird and unusual sightings of creatures many haven't even heard of. Yes, it's so interesting. I do know that the okapi was considered a cryptid before it was formally proven to exist. The saved section of your Reddit user profile. I've saved so much shit and then promptly forgot about it. Just like I'm going to do with this thread. I've been on Reddit so long it's like an archaeological dig going through my saved list. When I worked at a call center, we often had quiet times and the internet blocked most things. Unusual wiki articles. https://en.m.wiki.org/wikipedia:/unusual_articles kept me entertained for quite some time though. It's full of random strange things. Yeah, whenever I had to sub as a receptionist while she was having lunch, I'd read Crime Library, Crimelibrary.org. Fire disasters. And then never feel safe in an indoor crowded space ever again. There's actually video on YouTube of the Great White Disaster, and it's utterly horrifying how incredibly quickly it happens, and seeing the people literally stuck in the doorway unable to get out as they burn to death. As someone who still goes to a lot of shows at small packed music venues exactly like that one, and other totally packed bars and clubs, I'm always constantly looking for exits to find the nearest escape path, and it always freaks me out anytime there's any fire in any indoor space. Candles, sparklers, pyrotechnics, etc. The station video, when the camera pans over the crush of people stuck in the doorway, still alive and crying in pain and panic. It's exactly how I'd picture a circle of hell. It turns my stomach. Feral children. I had to stop reading these accounts because it made me too sad seeing over and over that the rescuers almost always killed the kids' animal families, and the children pretty much never had any quality of life after. The history of bananas. Look up Chiquita. From paying terrorists to child labor, they have a huge list of interesting corruption cases they've been caught for. https://www.nbcnews.com/news/amp/wbna176151143. Mass hysteria. There are different kinds that have affected different cultures in different ways. Multiple times throughout history, groups of people have uncontrollably danced themselves to deaths. In other parts of the world, men can become stricken with the belief that their penis is receding into their bodies. It was often believed the only way to prevent this from happening overnight was for family members to hold their members, etc. You can't forget about the crook of nuns that just started meowing and only stopped because the nearby town threatened to kill them all if they didn't stop. Post-WWII industries. Take fertilizer, lawn care, and home gardening for example. A very specific push to get chemical fertilizers in every home, monoculture lawns that require a lot more input, and a clean lawn that has left us where we are now. Very silly that we strayed away from what we had previously. Prion diseases. Every single one is weird and dark. It includes cannibalism and family curses, and ears walking onto legs, and industrial farming plus forced cow cannibalism. Edit. Thanks for 2000 upvotes. I would also add treating people with dead people's brain extract, and also that fungi can get prions, but they just don't care that much. Fungi are weird. 2 fun facts I learned in med school about this. The most common human prion disease is Creutzfeldt-Jakob, and 85% of cases occur spontaneously. There is a widespread mutation in the human population that protects against Kuru, a human prion disease spread by cannibalizing brains. This suggests cannibalism was a common practice at some point in human history. The wiki for the timeline for far future events. If you want to feel insignificant and learn some shit, check this out. https://en.wikipedia.org/timeline_of_the_far_future. I can't believe you've done this. Volcanoes scare me, and now I'm gonna be anxious as hell for the next 17,000 years. The history of lobotomies and cannibalism. I have spent more time researching these topics than the time taken to write a 90-page essay. Super fascinating if you don't get grossed out. Lobotomies disturb me in more ways than I can express. It's a profound violation of your identity and self. To have your very mind mutilated until you don't even recognize what you are. That total robbing of you as a person, leaving you mentally alert, is a thing out of horror. The domino effect that led up to World War I and then later World War II. It's interesting to learn about, but it's just a clusterfuck of easily preventable situations. My history professor would always say in college that some historians consider WW2 really WW1.5 and was just a continuation of WW1. Caving and cave diving accidents. Accidentally watched one in YouTube, then went down the rabbit hole. This led to some more parallel topics of horrible fates, bad deaths, etc. After few days, started getting disturbed sleep as this became my routine of watching before the sleep time. With self-restraint, finally I got out of it. I've been watching these too. It's insane how many seasoned veterans just make one little mistake and they're doomed. Especially the sheer helplessness, impossibility of rescue, darkness and isolation. Man, no thank you. Not ever. The sign outside of that one famous underwater cave says it best. There is nothing in here worth dying for. Look up history of human experimentation in the US on Wikipedia. Then do it for Japan. Rabies. You don't quite realize how horrifying it is. A few months ago I saw an old black and white footage on a Reddit sub of a man in a hospital literally dying from it. Like, you actually saw him die in front of the camera, in a horrendous, painful twitching manner, and there was nothing the medical people could do about it. To either prevent it or make it any more comfortable for him. Binge watching Mayday, the series about plane crashes, and looking up each incident on Google Wiki afterwards. Yup, second this. If anyone interested, I would check out our Admiral Cloudberg, very in-depth but digestible write-ups on a wild host of different incidents. People who go missing. This one I'm particularly fascinated with for some reason. Maybe it's because I like this YouTuber and how he formats his videos, but I've watched this video about a missing Canadian girl 3 times. https://yahoo.be/azlqfyyy0bm. Personally, I think she was groomed by a dude she met online and that guy kidnapped her and is holding her captive, like the Joseph guy from Austria years back. On the 27th of October, 1988 I went to breakfast at the student residence at the university I was attending. Wasn't too busy and wound up chatting with a guy as we ate our cornflakes. He seemed nice enough. 20 hours or so later he vanished, and was never seen again. https://vancouver.cities.ca/2018/its-still-8-/horror-no-answers-3-0-years-after-students-disappearance/ It's been nearly 34 years and there is still no clue as to whatever happened. Macy's Thanksgiving Parade balloon accidents. There was that one time that woman got thrown up into the Charlie Brown balloon. She ended up getting a pretty large settlement. I once looked up hummingbird cake and fell into a 2-hour spiral reading about all the different cakes and baked goods from different countries around the world. Also, famous kidnappings. I go on Project Charlie and read missing person bias. Art forgery and fakes. I've been watching a BBC series called Fake or Fortune where people try to get their art validated as being by an old master. They've had Renoir, Monet, etc. The program goes into how both modern day and historic forgers use techniques to make a picture or sculpture look original. It sometimes also shows how corrupt the art validation world can be, with one episode showing overwhelming evidence that a picture was genuine, but the organization responsible for cataloging the original works of the artist refusing to acknowledge it. Interestingly, the head of that institute is now under investigation in France for hoarding €1 billion worth of missing artworks. Ask a mortician on YouTube. https://www.youtube.com/channel/UCI5IEYLWSLVLQNMI02U5GQ. Caitlin Doughty tells fascinating stories of unusual deaths, cannibalism, historic shipwrecks, accidents, botched cremations, etc. She also has 3 books out on death questions and the funeral business that I've read more than once. Sleep paralysis, audio-visual hallucinations across cultures throughout history. It's disturbing. I experienced this as a teenager. I'd see a tall, thin, shadowy figure in the corner of the room. It almost seemed amorphous, but basically bipedal and had wings, webbing, on its back and underarms. It would sort of ooze down to the floor, stand upright at the foot of my bed for a bit, then sort of ooze into the air a few feet over my body and just sort of stare, no eyes, really, at me for a while until I could move again. It didn't really talk, but it sort of whispered gibberish at me in a very hostile manner. I'll be glad if I never experience that again. Saving this post. Also, cold cases of missing people can be terrifying sometimes. The Wikipedia page on human-made disasters is fascinating and horrifying. It's crazy to see how quickly a normal day can turn into a tragedy. I think it's Boston where people drowned in molasses. Makes me afraid of that dude on the Candyland board. Mt. Everest is a pretty fucked up subject. Into Thin Air is the most exciting book I've ever read. I spent 2 days in my bed reading it. Couldn't put it down. Everest is a nightmare. I recently watched Chernobyl, so I've been looking into radiation poisoning, what it does to people, and why it happens in the first place. Gets pretty dark pretty fast. Just reading about how nuclear power works in general is very interesting, but quickly starts to go over my head. Religious cults. There's so many documentaries out there, literally weeks of entertainment. I spent like a solid month a year or two ago watching documentaries, YouTube videos about the Mormon Church. There's a crap ton of videos and articles about the various Christian fundie groups, cults, and once you get deep into the rabbit hole it's honestly scary. Like straight up sinister. This is mine. Not just the cults themselves but the psychology behind why people get sucked into them, have a hard time escaping and adapting back to reality when they leave. Fascinating and terrifying. Lacacity Quad Pills. Edit. Thank you for the silver kind redditor. Second edit. Than you for the second silver kind redditor. A link for the lazy. https://unresolved.me/lake-city-quad-pills. Money laundering through Counter-Strike Global Offensive weapon skins. You can track all the expensive items, $1,000 minus $15 plus, in botted inventories and trace all the trade histories. There are about 20 accounts that have each $500 minus $1.2 million inventory value, all tracing back to one person, for example. Things about the universe. It's overwhelming. You get kind of a tremendous existential angst but somehow you can't stop.